Do you know why children in Asia are taught to knock before entering new homes or hotel rooms? Just a simple act of courtesy, right? Well, here's something not everyone knows. Knocking isn't just for rooms we know are being used. Real estate agents in Hong Kong and other parts of Asia use this practice even before stepping into what they know is a vacant apartment. Because, even in quiet places that seem empty, knocking is a good idea to let anyone, alive or otherwise, know that someone is stepping in. Our stories today will show you why a vacant space isn't necessarily an unoccupied space, and why some doors should just stay shut. City 1 is the largest housing development in Hong Kong's Sha Tin district. It was once seen as premium real estate, attracting everyone who wanted a peaceful place to live. But on September 1st, 1989, a harrowing incident happened here, forever altering the soul of the development. Decorated actor and MC Paul Chung was renowned for his role in hosting the annual Miss Hong Kong pageant. Tragically, things ended for him when he fell from his 43rd floor residence in City 1. Some say it was an accident. Some say it was intentional. Some even think that he was coerced by loan sharks. Insiders knew that he struggled with massive gambling debt. In the days leading up to his tragic fate, Paul approached his closest friends to borrow money. Rumor had it that he traveled to Macau, Asia's gambling capital, in a final, desperate bid to clear his debt. A few years after his passing, a local TV channel got a call from a distressed viewer. The caller said that they had moved into Paul Chung's old apartment. He was a primary school teacher named Wong. Wong was drawn in by the incredibly low rent and didn't bother to look into the apartment's tragic history. Nothing remarkable happened when Wong first moved in, but there was one slightly odd thing. Every time he turned on the TV, a rerun of the Miss Hong Kong pageant aired. Wong would dismiss it and change the channel. This kept happening for weeks. But he went about his daily routine without giving it much thought. One night, he relaxed with a few cold beers, snacking on peanuts and reading his newspaper. Wong suddenly felt sleepy. Too tired to clean up after himself, he went into his bedroom and fell asleep. When he woke up the next morning, he was greeted by a pristine living room. The peanut shells and empty beer bottles were in the garbage. His newspaper was neatly folded and placed on the coffee table. Puzzled, Wong thought to himself, "There's no one else here. Did I clean up and forget about it?" Wong chose to recreate the previous night's chaos. That night, he left newspapers lying around. Empty beer bottles and peanut shells were scattered on his coffee table. Next day, same thing. Everything was meticulously tidied up again. This time, he knew he wasn't being forgetful. He knew he wasn't alone. Losing his mind over the strange incident, Wong switched the TV on for some noise to occupy the silence. True to the pattern, the TV broadcast a replay of the Miss Hong Kong pageant. This time, instead of changing the channel, Wong stared at the screen. When the image of Paul Chung appeared, Wong was terrified. Paul Chung, no longer in his usual hosting role, stared at Wong through the screen. His gaze pierced Wong's soul. In a haunting tone, Paul said,
"I didn't do it. I was coerced. You have to help me."
Wong, shaken to his core, lunged forward to turn off the TV. But the TV stayed on. Desperate, he resorted to manually pulling the plug. Yet, Paul Chung's image remained on the screen.
"Please help me. This was foul play. You need to call the police."
Terrified, Wong dashed into his bedroom. He hid under the covers, hoping to feel safe until he finally fell asleep. The next day, he stepped into the living room, trying to convince himself that last night was just a drunken dream. But his self-reassurance crumbled when he spotted a piece of paper on his coffee table. Scrawled onto the note were 4 haunting words: "Foul play, call police, Under those words, a name and a phone number. At this point, Wong knew he wasn't hallucinating. Driven by a sense of duty, he brought the note to a police station, intent on reporting a crime, but the authorities were doubtful about his story. A piece of paper was hardly enough evidence to even open a case. They thought he was delusional and dismissed his claims. At his wit's end, Wong reached out to the TV station in hopes that someone would help him. Representatives from the TV station tried to trace the writer of the note, but this lead came up empty. Then they looked into the contact on the note. The phone number and the person were in fact linked to a loan company. Despite his efforts, the lack of real help forced Wong to make the difficult choice to move away. Before he left, he cast a final gaze towards the TV screen and directed his words to Paul Chung. "I've done everything I can here. I hope the next one can be of more help. Every grievance has its cause, and every debt, its debtor." As a rookie in real estate, Stephen was keen to impress his bosses and build his reputation. The industry was fierce. Novices like him had to fight tooth and nail to secure their next sale and make a living. Working in a small real estate office instead of a big company meant that whoever answered the phone first could help the client. Stephen finally had a lead eager to tour a unit in City 1 in the Shatin area. Not knowing much about the industry, he soon met a curious couple. They had their eyes set on an 18th floor unit. It was industry practice for properties on sale to be completely empty during viewings. An exception was when the owner wanted to sell their home. In this case, potential buyers could walk into a lived-in space. This particular viewing was in the former category, so the company gave Stephen a key to enter the home. On the appointed day, Stephen escorted the married couple to apartment 18D. Strangely, the key failed to budge the stubborn lock guarding the front door. Confused and panicked, he feared losing a sale, so he pressed the doorbell, desperately trying to look competent. He also wondered if he had misremembered the apartment number. To Stephen's surprise, footsteps from the other side of the door. It creaked open. A man in his 40s greeted Stephen. Stephen peered past him, his eyes widening at the lavish house. Inside, the man's wife and child were absorbed in the glow of the TV. Contrary to his company's intel, the unit was far from vacant.
"Sorry for disturbing your day. I'm from Millennium Real Estate Company. Are you currently selling this property?"
Stephen inquired. His voice betrayed a hint of unease in this unexpected scenario. The man at the door shook his head.
"No, we've been here for years. Selling is the last thing on our minds. Are you sure you've got the right unit?"
Stephen paused before answering.
"Yes. According to our records, Unit 18D was listed for sale after the last occupants left."
"Well, clearly, I'm very much settled in here with my wife and daughter. Seems like there's been a mix-up in your information. Why don't you double-check with your company? Goodbye,"
the man stated firmly. Before Stephen could say another word, the door sealed shut with a resounding thud. His clients were furious at the wasted time and unprofessional behavior. They stormed out of the building, leaving Stephen no chance to explain. Feeling frustrated and confused, Stephen called his company's senior reps for help from someone more experienced. They reassured him that flat 18D should have definitely been vacant. Weird. Did he make a mistake with the apartment number? Or did he step onto the wrong floor by mistake? After finishing his viewings for the day, Stephen felt a nagging urge. He needed to find closure for his apparent mistake. Determined, he revisited apartment 18D at the end of the workday, alone. He double-checked that he was on the 18th floor in the elevator. Then he walked to the same unit that had unsettled him before.
18D.
He confirmed to himself as he glanced at the number plate, nailed into the wall next to the door. This time, the key smoothly turned the lock, granting him access to the apartment. Yet, any relief from being right faded fast when he realized the unit was completely vacant. No furniture, no family, just the unsettling stillness of an unlit apartment. Stephen hesitated, unwilling to cross the threshold into 18D. With a quick, nervous gesture, he shut the front door behind him, his doubts gnawing at him. Lacking trust in his own judgment, Stephen quickly called the married couple interested in viewing the apartment earlier that day.
Just a few hours back, when I took you to see 18D, was there already a family living in the apartment?
He inquired.
Yes, we left because it seemed like a misunderstanding. What's going on?
Came the puzzled reply.
Nothing to worry about, thank you.
Stephen said, a chill running down his spine. He realized his experience was real, not just in his imagination. It was confirmed. Another person had seen the family of 3 in 18D earlier. It wasn't just him. A year later, another couple was interested in viewing 18D with Stephen. This time, they agreed to meet in the apartment's ground floor lobby. Welcoming the couple, Stephen guided them towards the elevator. As they stepped inside, a friendly greeting from a security guard took him by surprise. This interaction seemed strange to Stephen. In his 1 year of experience, security guards usually acted more carefully. They often asked for ID from real estate agents like him. Despite this, Stephen jumped right into his sales pitch as the elevator started to rise.
The 18D apartment is 620 square feet, cozy and practical. I think you'll really like the view from the bedroom. It's a real treat. Nice and peaceful neighborhood too, with easy access to everything you need.
Enthralled, the couple followed Stephen towards 18D. As before, Stephen turned the key with ease, and the door yielded without resistance. Stepping inside, he was met with the familiar emptiness of the apartment. Bathed in daylight, the space felt safe and solid, with no signs of anything strange. With a flick of a light switch, he entered. Stephen continued his sales pitch as he stepped in.
So, we've got the living room on my left, nice and comfy. Over here, a fully equipped kitchen, 4 stovetops, oven.
His words trailed off as he turned towards the front door to gesture the couple inside. They were gone. Panic rising, Stephen rushed to check the fire exits and elevators. He found no sign of their departure. He tried calling the couple, but there was no answer. Then he rushed back down to the lobby to question the security guard about the missing pair.
Excuse me, the couple that I arrived with, did you see them leave the building?
The security guard replied.
You mean Mr. and Mrs. Gao? No, I thought you were with them because they wanted to move back into their old apartment. They were the previous tenants at 18D. I haven't seen them or their little girl in over a year.
As Stephen processed the guard's words, a chilling realization crept over him. The friendly greeting from the security guard that had struck him as odd earlier now made sense. The guard wasn't acknowledging him. He was acknowledging the couple behind, whom he had grown to recognize as longtime tenants of the building. The next day at work, his boss dropped a thick binder on his desk. In bold letters, it read, "Stigmatized properties." These were apartments that were tough to sell or rent out due to a tragic past.
Check out the section under the Gao family,
His boss remarked, a hint of amusement in his tone. Stephen turned to the right page, and there it was, apartment 18D in City 1. As his eyes scanned down the page, he let out a gasp because he recognized the family of 3 in the picture. The entry read as follows. Under description, location of a family tragedy approximately a year ago. Under cause, carbon monoxide poisoning. And under deceased, father, 41 years old, mother, 37 years old, and daughter, 12 years old.